How's it going, man? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your pal Cal, and today we're going to be talking about the PlugMate. And the PlugMate, which is such a strange name, I'm just going to say that off rip, is a mini computer, an ARM-based SoC on the inside, the size of a thumb drive. And man, I was very skeptical at first, and I still have some thoughts about the entire operation, but it really does give you an area of privacy that I have not been able to find in anything of its sort. I think it might just be the first of its kind. Think of this like a bootable USB, except a bootable USB you can use for your phone. So if you're running iOS, for example, you can now run Android. And if you're running Android and you have some sort of limitations, or you're using a type of firmware that doesn't allow you to use certain applications, or you're not able to do the things that you would want to do on a phone that you are using, I kind of have to be kind of vague here. Also, this video is for educational purposes only. Remember to only test your own hardware and only test your own devices. Follow your local laws and follow any, guidelines that you might be a part of. This thing is simply amazing for what I needed it for. In particular, I was limited by a Android OS that kept me from being able to use TikTok, Instagram, just certain applications for a period of time, around like 4 or 5 months, and it was beyond aggravating. But this little thing bypassed all of that, and I was kind of amazed by how it did it. It all runs on an application called PlugOS, and PlugOS is literally just Android. You can run another Android OS on top of another OS, and it's secure. If you unplug it, it goes with it. It's all done in the application, and you can have it where it auto starts up the minute you plug in your device to your phone. I'm going to show you guys exactly how it's done, because how it's done is ingenious. If you got yourself a PlugMate, you will find a QR code on the inside. I've stuck it to my sticker wall because, well, I want to keep track of it. I don't want to lose that thing. It'll come in handy later. Everything is done after you're configured with your phone. And after around 3.5, 4 weeks of testing, I can honestly say I really like this thing. However, it does have its limitations. Now, before we continue, if you're interested in NFC education or need tools for NFC research, or just have an NFC device that isn't working as adequately as you might hope, Midwest Gadgets have upgrades and tools for anything NFC related, like their Flipper Zero Extender Pro and their NFC field repeater that they have for the Flipper Zero as well, that comes in sticker variants, not just for the Flipper Zero, but for your phone as well. They have their new round ring, or their range ring, that allows you to detect the heat signatures on any NFC device, which, there we go. You can detect how powerful the NFC field is, and if it isn't adequate, they have whole repeater PCBs that extend the area of field on any NFC device. And to demonstrate real quick, these repeaters can be used to really give your device some range, and they can apply for inside a vehicle, inside a phone case, or just for basic education. I gotta thank Midwest Gadgets, because they've been a sponsor of this channel for quite some time, and without them, I probably couldn't do half the things that I do NFC related or in my videos. Let's switch over to the top-down camera. I do have to give it to them on the size, shape, form factor, and weight to it. It is incredibly discreet. You would think that this is just a USB-C flash drive, when in reality it's a whole PC and a completely different phone. It comes with this angled adapter. This angled adapter allows you to run it on the back of your phone. We're gonna open my phone up real quick. That way we can just get it started. Yep, right here. We're gonna plug that in, just like that. And no matter what we do, it'll literally just open up in a second. Give it a second, hold on. There we go. It launches the application directly. We can hit enter, and it's gonna ask us for our password. I'm gonna type my password off screen, verifying password. And then from here, it's gonna take a second, I wanna say about a minute to load up. It's booting straight to the memory on the phone. It does have 128 gigs, so you're pretty good on storage. Like it's basically a whole nother motherboard for your phone. Boot time was about 32 seconds, which is pretty good. It might take up to 2 minutes on your first boot. They advertise real security, like full spectrum security. It is cross-platform, and it's a full Android operating system, so you can just boot this on anything that you like. I really like that. This is the boot screen. Here we have an entire operating system layered on top of our existing operating system. And it doesn't matter if you have an iPhone, Windows computer, you name it, you can use it, and that I think is just phenomenal. Here, for some reason, we have our assisted touch. It's just kind of there no matter what. We can go back home and navigate from it just in case we don't want to navigate from the bottom. We can go to the App Store here, and in the App Store, let's press Don't Allow, and we can download Termix, which we definitely need in this case. We can download music, a calculator, you can download all the apps. This is basically a whole nother phone. I know I've said this like 1,000 times now, but I just think this is really cool. One thing that I find weird is when it comes to like Wi-Fi and your phone's original 4G carrier service, it still says 3G. Like no matter what, it still says 3G. I find that weird, but you know, it does work. We can browse the web, which I find also pretty cool. We're gonna go to just head to Google right here. Let's exit permissions because for some reason permissions are not fully intact. And you can adjust everything however way you want. Yeah, there we go. We can browse the web and we can open any application, and it's limited to just here. Now we do have a blue status light indicator right there on the bottom, and that's literally it. I gotta hand it to it because it accesses your phone's GPS, gives you a layer of security. There's a lot of things here that I'm a big fan of as far as security wise, and I'll share why I personally found this useful. Like for me personally, like I found myself using this a lot, testing out a secure firmware that really wasn't that secure because it bypassed it really fast. Now, another feature that I really like is they have a self-destruct feature. That can come in handy, especially when it comes to privacy. A lot of people are switching to Graphene OS and things of that sort. This gives you an extra layer of protection because there's absolutely no data collection, and that is another thing that I think is just phenomenal. You can do something simpler if you want one secure phone, but let's say you had a phone that is either monitored or limited by its uses. This can completely bypass it, and I think that's just ingenious. There's a lot of ways where it comes to counter surveillance and comes to, let's say, pen testing your own devices and your own firmware, of course, with protection. I found myself in a situation where I had to use a custom firmware for about 3 to 4 months. And my last 2 days, once I could finally get rid of it, I wanted to test its limitations. This pushed past this in an obscene way, and I was just kind of perplexed on how all of it works. It gives itself access straight from the jump. And the fact that it's that secure is kind of concerning. I have been trying to look into how exactly it works. It's beyond me. But if you're interested in finding out a lot more, and I will be doing an update video on this because I plan on tearing it down. I know it's an ARM-based SoC, and I know that there are a lot of devices recently that have been shifting to this level of privacy and security. So if you're interested in this type of security, check out the links down below. I believe it's TrustKernel is the website, and PlugOS, although it might be kind of like using a phone from 2013, 14, it's pretty decent. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're interested in asset protection devices like this, counter surveillance tools, ethical hacking, firmware, custom firmware that exists through all different corners of the world, consider following this channel because we go over all different types of stuff all the time. And we also have a podcast called The Black Wire Militia with some of the best members of the community, all linked down below, and you should definitely check them out as well because they're amazing, man. Just like you. You're super amazing. Love your face, man. We'll see you next time.